A jubilant Joe Biden addressed supporters in Philadelphia on Tuesday night, taking a jab at the analysts who had written him off just a few days earlier.
Just over a week ago, many of the pundits declared that this candidacy was dead. Now we're very much alive.
He was speaking as the Democratic primaries concluded in 6 states. Biden won 4 of them, taking his delegate count to 823, well ahead of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, his closest rival. And now he's looking to reinforce that lead by pouring money into his campaign. Team Biden is expected to pump nearly $9 million into ads on social media this month. That's a 3-fold increase in spending since Super Tuesday, when Biden bagged 10 out of 14 states. The spending spree is being fueled by a surge in campaign contributions provided largely by political action committees. That's drawn sharp criticism from Biden's main competitor, Bernie Sanders.
Does anyone seriously believe that a president backed by the corporate world is going to bring about the changes in this country that working families and the middle class and lower income people desperately need?
But Biden's success across a diverse demographic, including minorities and young voters, suggests most people are not too concerned with the finer details of campaign financing. And with plenty more to spend, it's likely the former vice president won't have to bide his time for much longer. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
All right, let's get more on this from the editorial director of the American Institute for Economic Research, Jeffrey Tucker. He joins me live from Great Barrington. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. With this latest round of primaries, Biden really solidifies his lead as the front runner. And Bernie Sanders has come out and said that he will not drop out of the race, which comes as no surprise to anyone. But do you think that his campaign really is at the end, Sanders' campaign?
It definitely is. This is an epic fail for Sanders yesterday. It was very interesting. My mother, who's not political at all, texted me this morning. She said, "Thank goodness America won't be a socialist country." I was completely shocked by this, but I think that it illustrates a little bit of the attitude on the part of mainstream America. You know, the Sanders movement was fueled by kind of a sense of Hegelian inevitability. Oh, we're rising. There's a revolution taking place. Young people are with us. And then, that was greeted with reality yesterday. And it turns out that people aren't that much into his message, which is just all anger all the time, pillage the rich, nationalize everything, bring socialism. It works for a certain percentage of the electorate, but it was never really a mainstream message. So it was a rude awakening. As to why Bernie's not dropping out, that's an interesting thing, and it's an insight into the way American elections work. The small dollar donations keep rolling in on an hourly basis to this campaign. It turns out to be very difficult for these candidates to just go, "Oh, stop giving me money. I'm going to end my campaign right now." They have every incentive to keep it going as long as possible.
Right. So why did Bernie Sanders' campaign fizzle out? Because, I mean, as you said, his supporters are very, very passionate, and they all also are very loud about their support for him. But is it possible that even though he has this, loud base of supporters, that they're not the ones who are going to the polls?
Well, that's a real factor. It's very difficult to get young people out to the polls, and apparently most of his supporters, implausibly, were these young people that were hoping for forgiveness of their student debts, hoping for free medical care because they see their parents having difficulty dealing with insurance and that sort of thing. In other words, Bernie was promising them this beautiful utopia. The problem is it really came down to posting on TikTok or watching Netflix. They prefer that to going to the polls. So it's a very difficult thing.
Yeah, it is really hard, it seems, to get the younger generation out to actually vote. What are some of the big issues now as we move deeper into the election season? Obviously, coronavirus is dominating the headlines right now. Do you think that will have an impact on the campaigning, especially as these candidates have to cancel rallies and can't really meet face-to-face with potential voters?
Look, the impact of Corona can't be overestimated. This is gigantic. If Trump starts canceling rallies, it's not what he wants to do, but this is what everybody's urging him to do. And it also changes the tenor of the American electorate. I mean, I can tell you in the United States in the last week, everything is different. We've got basically martial law not too far from New York City and New Rochelle. That would have been unthinkable a month ago. Conferences are being canceled all over the place. You can stay in five-star hotels in New York right now for $60. Broadway tickets are collapsing. It's dramatically changed. I don't want to say it's the only issue, but actually today it's kind of the only issue. What are we going to do about the financial markets? What are we going to do about this pandemic? And a lot of people are betting that Trump's not going to be so strong going into this with his kind of funny way and his sort of slipshod governing style. So it does change the dynamic of the campaign. A lot of people are betting that Biden has advantages. I'm looking at the betting odds. That's what I follow. And now they're almost neck and neck for Trump and Biden. And that's a complete shift from last week. So it's significant.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Coronavirus is the big unknown out there. It is changing everything. We'll leave it there for now. Jeffrey Tucker, thank you so much.